Good morning, everyone. It's Joker, and today we are back with another slime video. And today we're going to take a look at the new free-to-play Gazel, the Avatar of War, the free-to-play unit for the new Divine General 3rd Anniversary team. And he's a unit. He's certainly a unit. He does have some good qualities. He also has some not so good qualities, unfortunately. And I find him to be not as useful as some of the other better free-to-play units that have come out in 2024. So his kit is just a bit questionable. He is Earth, he is magic, he does use an Earth Spear, which is why he has the stupid Earth Spear that we got years and years ago, but he has his own gear, so not a big deal. He is on Divine General, Otherworld Legend Commander, and the Flashback Emissary category, which is all the free-to-play units. His single target alt is Earth Magic for 70%, gives you counter power, not important. His first skill, 90 points, lowers all targets' attribute resistance by 70%, which means that any element will hit harder, and then weakness resistance by 30%, which means that if you're type advantage, you will hit harder. So it's a total 100% buff on a free-to-play, or debuff on a character, on a free-to-play unit, which explains the 90 skill cost. This skill is not as impactful as you would hope a 100% debuff would be, or what amounts to a 100% debuff. It's just not. And that's, I think, the first thing. I would have gone without the skill entirely and given him an alt swap, but sure, whatever. His second skill changes Divine General characters' orbs into green. 1. Singular. And then increases Divine General skill point increase for all souls until the end of battle by 30%. Unlimited. So you can go up to 300 or 500 or 700% skill points. Like, there is no cap, which is new. Normally there's like a 500% cap on most things like this. He does not. So you can go higher than that. And it affects all Divine General orbs. Not just greens, but also blues and oranges, which is cool if your entire team or a lot of your team is Divine General. Because if it's not, this skill becomes absolutely almost fucking useless. Because if he's the only Divine General character and he's only there to orb change, chances are he's not going to be up front very often, which means you're not going to actually benefit off of the skill point. Combined with his very expensive debuff that's not super duper powerful, means that he's just kind of meh. But let's test him out. Alright, let's make the entire Divine General team minus Millum, because I don't know what she's going to bring to this team. But we've got Veldora, Yom, Gazel, Raphael, Diablo, Elmesia Protector. Yeah, on this team, he's going to work really well, because literally everyone is Divine General. The only problem is alts and not having an alt swapper, but hey, that's a different problem. It's not Gazel's problem, because he can't do that anyways. Alright, so we're on turn 2, because turn 1 is just an orb change, that's it. So Gazel, he can do a few things here. So 15 points, and he's going to give 1 orb into greens, so we have 3 greens, now we have 4 greens, but more importantly, we now have a 30% skill point increase on these orbs. And technically, it's also the blue orbs, and it could be the orange orbs as well, but we don't want to send oranges and blues in this fight, we want to send greens. So, using the power of Elmesia, we shall reset everyone back down. Sure, we'll watch this, why not? But Gazel is the second most important unit to this team, and it's really unfortunate that his other skill is not as important. Because the amount of damage you do compared to using it versus maybe trading off for a few extra stacks of Raphael is not the same. I think we might we'll do this one and we'll use it, and then we'll come back and we'll not use it and we'll go with the Raphael stacks, assuming everything else is the same, and we'll see what the damage difference is. But regardless of that fact, he is still a very necessary, essential part of this team, because without him, you're not getting a lot of points for green orbs. So it's vital that you have him on this team, and you have at least 3 Divine General units, which means that you've pulled Diablo and Raphael as well. Because if you're not sending orbs with a Divine General, they're not getting the skill point increase, straight up. So your Divine General orb individually might give you like 50 points of skills, but someone else's is going to give you like 9. That's not really what you're looking for. So here, let's... I mean, I guess we can. Might have to use... Okay, we can turn that off now. Might have to use Yom to reset, or change a few of those as well. Setting, let's turn that. Let's just burn a turn, actually, hold on. I don't want to deal with this right now. So we'll send the alts. They're not going to do a lot of damage. We're going to get a Gazel alt next turn because of the Enamor effect from Elmesia. Not great, but having alts on turn 3 is also not exactly the best thing. Also, only having one green orb is not also that great. So, Diablo skill. Okay, you can go away now. We'll bring in Yom for Diablo since we don't need to use him more than once. And... let's see. I do want to do this. I do want to do this as well. Hopefully it only changes the orange. Okay, perfect. All right, that's good. So now we can reset everything. Now we're getting, the maximum out of our orb changing. We've reset Yoms. We can change those 2 blues. We'll change the last orange, and that leaves us some points to stack with Raphael. So now if we look at them, we're now getting 150% skill points, which means 1 green orb gets us 18 points, and then sending 5 of them gives me a maximum cap. If we were not sending all Divine General orbs, we would not be getting max cap. We would not be getting those extra skill points. And that's what makes him such an essential character for this team. Now, there are people who do and do not enjoy that aspect of having the free-to-play characters be essential. Some people like being able to swap them off and not have that much of an impact. We saw that with the antagonist Cleash, where she's good for the team, but if you're trying to maximize, she's not really that good for the team, and she could be easily swapped out. Gazel, in order to run this team, he is a necessary component. So he takes up one of your slots. So you wish his other skill was just a bit better. Oh well, though. Alright, let's bring Diablo in for Yom. And then we can just change these 3 orbs. And we can probably send the Raphael alt. Or we could send Raphael to the back, actually. So, actually, let's do that. Let's get some stacks, because we have another green orb incoming. We don't have to worry too much. Okay, seal that. Cool beans. The alt resistance is going away. This is only EX2, by the way, in case you were wondering. We're not in Inferno, so she doesn't have 18 million HP. She has 1.3. I didn't think we need to go into the higher stages to really get some use out of that. So orb change, stack. We need to do one more orb change. When we send Raphael away, it'll pull this green orb in, so we don't need to worry about it. So just one more, and we can get one more stack out of Raphael before we send him. Yeah, that's nice. Okay. So, in you come. Now we get a full hand of green Divine Generals, which are now boosted up to 240% skill point gain. Alright. Capping out, well, not capping out, 292 points out of 350. So you see that even though we've used his skill a lot, we're still not capping out. And that is only compounded by the fact that if we didn't have a full hand of Divine Generals, it would be so much worse as well. So Diablo's got an alt. Everyone has an alt here. We need 2 orb changes. Let's take Veldora out of here. We're just going to skip ahead to the nuke. Yeah, I think you guys understand orb changing, how it works. So let me skip ahead. Okay, I actually had to go into Inferno 1 because DX2 wasn't strong enough to live up to all the alts we're sending, because we have no alt swappers here, so I want to get rid of alts. So let's use the Gazel debuff now. So that's 90 points. It's just a debuff, so it doesn't matter. Everyone in the back can still take care of it, or still benefit off it. So we'll bring Raphael in. We'll bring Veldora in for Yom, and we'll use him. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get Elmesia, so I can't reset the Raphael stacks. Not a super huge deal, honestly. We've gotten enough, and so next time in the next clip, we'll just have to get back to where we are. So, Raphael currently has 14 stacks. It's not a lot, all things considered. And we've had, let's see, how much weakness strike? We've had 3 alts, or, well, at least 75% worth of permanent weakness strike from Diablo and him alting. So whether it was 3 normals or an EX and a normal, whatever, we're not going to send this one. And let's just see how much damage we do with 14 stacks and how much Elmesia, 115% right there. So, yeah, not a lot there either. Let's just see how much this does. He does 14.3 million, so actually not enough to kill. Okay, well, interesting. Let's come back in the exact same kind of scenario, and let's try it again. We would have killed had we had Elmesia, because we've had a little bit more stacks, but let's come back and let's see what happens if we don't use Gazel's debuff. Okay, we are back on turn 8. We have the 14 stacks like we had originally in the first clip. I think we have to use one more stack. Yeah, we're at 100%, so one more stack of Elmesia will get us to that 115. So everything matches up. The only thing that we're going to do differently here is we're not going to use Gazel's debuff, and instead we're going to use whatever leftover points we have available, and we're going to put that towards more stacks of Raphael. So we'll bring Veldora in. We'll use all the big time buffs. We have to reset as well so we can drop Raphael's skill back down to 0. And then we could use the 90-point buffs, the 55-point weakness strike buff, which, I mean, it's okay. I wouldn't bring Veldora just for this. His other skill is literally sealed for the entire fight, so like he's not a good pick, but whatever. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we'll have 182 points left over to put into the stacks of Raphael, which is only going to be like 4 or 5 stacks because math is hard, and the costs do continue to go up and up and up. So that's an extra stack. That's extra 2 stacks right there, extra 3 stacks, extra 4 stacks, and that's where we're going to get 4 stacks. Okay. So instead of the Gazel debuff, we got 4 additional stacks of the synergy power and alt damage. And let's see how much damage Raphael does, if he will out-damage the Gazel debuff by just doing 4 more. So here, 16.7 million. Alright, hold on one second. Alright, so these aren't the greatest pictures, but 14.3 versus 16.7. So we got an extra almost 2.5 million damage off of just skipping the Gazel debuff and using more stacks of Raphael. And it doesn't look like a lot because we're doing such huge amounts of damage now with this team, but 2.5 million damage? Like, some teams struggle to do 1 million damage sometimes, so 2.5 just extra from negating 1 debuff and putting on what essentially is an 80-point alt and 80-point synergy power buff. Like, that's pretty hefty. So, yeah, Gazel will help you do damage. Would not bringing him hurt the team? Also, yeah, very much so. We kind of need him. But his actual DPS element, like his damage support, is just not as good as Raphael getting more stacks of him. So there comes to be some kind of weird imbalance where his first skill is 1000% necessary, and his second skill is I would say, 10% unnecessary. And I think that's where part of Gazel's problem ends up being. So now, instead of putting him on a full Divine General team, let's run him on a team that maybe doesn't have as many units. Alright, let's put him on another green stacking team that could use some skill points. However, he is the only unit that is going to count. So we have the first anniversary team, the Dark team, Veldora, Isis, Rimuru, Milim, Shinsha, and now we're going to bring, instead of like Veldora or something or some other support unit, we're going to bring Gazel, and we're going to see how useful he can actually be on a green-focused team, but where his skill is not as useful as it should be. We'll get use out of his big time buff now, because this is not a team that's meant to do like 18 million damage, but his orb change, gonna be a little bit tricky to use. We can use it though. Alright, turn 1, orb change, that's nothing new. We won't really be able to use Gazel next turn, but in this case, Gazel is going to serve kind of that same kind of idea that a lot of the self-converting blue orb changers do, where they're only good in the back. You bring him in for whoever needs to be changed, and then for this, I guess we just leave him in every other turn, so we can actually maybe benefit off of the skill points on his orbs, because no one else in this team is Divine General, so he's not going to change anyone else's, and no one else is going to get the skill point increase. So, okay, yeah, that works right there. Sure. We can only use him once because we don't have the multi-use skill kind of thing. So, let's do... Well, I mean... yeah, let's take Shinsha out and we'll bring Gazel in. And we can change at least one of his orbs. Perfect. Alright, so now his orb specifically, 30% increase, but Milim has nothing. So that's the important part. Let's put the green buff on from Isis. We'll reset everyone now with Veldora so we can use the Isis orb chain so we can actually have a full hand of blues. And we'll get slightly extra skill points here because of the fact that we have Gazel going. Also, Milim is raising it by some amount. 20% right now? Is that what her skill does? Or, hold on, that's what Isis does. 20% from Isis. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 137 points on turn 2 is really good. It is really good. Like, I'm not going to try and fake that. That's a lot of points for turn 2 on a very, very old team. What does turn 3 look like? Okay. I mean, yeah, we can do that too. And I guess we can ult with him. So let's change his one blue orb. Alright, perfect. Let's change a couple of the orbs. That's not... Oh, I skill fused her, didn't I? Whoops-a-daisies. Well... That's unfortunate. Okay, well, let's just send it. I forgot that she changes any two, so I have to use the Isis orb change to change the dedicated blue. I just wanted to use it before I reset, that way I get a little more value out of it. Okay, well... yeah, okay. Well, here we go. Let's do it again. Now let's reset. We can reset twice, technically, but we still can't use multiple skills. So, let's change his orb, and then we'll change Milim's orb. Is it working? Technically, yes. Is it great? A little debatable, I guess. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Alright, we're at 240 points now. This team used to struggle for points. We used to have to use the Shinsha debuff to give us the extra skill points. And now we're looking okay. And he's almost dead. And there's the seal, so we gotta wait. I mean, we could send the orange, so we can see that the orange is getting 90% skill points, so that gives us... Okay, we don't actually know what it gives. But the Isis one has no buff whatsoever. So, does that make him bad? No, he can work. Does it make him not as good as other characters? Yes. I would say yes. If he had an unrestricted orb change and everything got 30% skill points, huge. Huge. He would be night and day almost. If he had an alt swap instead of this, so I could maybe make this hand an entire hand of greens and I'm not worried about this debuff, also huge. Do I kind of wish we got more out of a 3rd anniversary free-to-play character? Yeah. Yeah, I do. Alright, let's change the blue orb. Alright, perfect. Let's reset Gazel and Milim back down again. And... wonder if we should just kill with him. He's not going to get the attack buff. He's not going to get the dark buff. He won't actually get the crit buff. Well, is he on Tempest Elite? He is not. Because he's not from Tempest. That was a stupid question. Don't worry about me. Don't you worry about me. We're good. Alright, so we also don't have the green buff active anymore. Okay, sure. Does Gazel won't kill here. He's not that strong. Yeah, okay, we're fine. We just have to get back here. So, how many points do we need to nuke? Fully nuke. Milim, and... well, we need to go to turn 8, technically. Okay, well... let's go to turn 8 so we can actually see him get the job done. Blue orb change. Cool. And then let's take Isis out for Shinsha. Alright, there's an orange. Perfect. Let's reset again. Let's use Gazel's Orb Change again to get his orange done, and then we can use Millum. And then we can just hold off. So Orb Change, boom, boom. Okay. You know, it's not as bad as I thought. It just requires him to be up front the entire time, which in some scenarios where you don't have an alt swap is maybe not the best. Also, this stage is not very hard. Do we have enough points now to use everything? We should. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, we have plenty of points. So let's just burn this turn then. Extra points. Hooray. Okay. Now it's turn 8. Now Shinja's buff is fully awakened. So 1, 2, 3, and then we'll bring Dark Rimuru in for his crit buff. We haven't used any of Shinja's crit resistance down. That doesn't really matter. He'll have guaranteed crits. We still need to watch his ult. Do we ult with him here for funsy onesies? Because it's like, we know that Millum's going to kill. Let's ult with Gazel. For fun. At least he has guaranteed crits. He just won't have the crit damage buff. Let's give him the magic buff. So he's got alt buff, crit rate, and I think that's it. Okay. Does he actually kill? I feel like he should. The other Gazel only has like 30k HP left or something. Okay, the one good thing that I can say about Gazel for sure is that his animation looks good. They did a good job with it. What is he? He does 80,000 damage. Okay, well, type neutral, not actually getting a lot of the buffs. Millum would have done probably like 500k or something. Did we get his animation in the game, or in the showcase? We sure did. Was he actually useful in this scenario, even on a non-optimized team setup for him? Technically, yes. We did benefit off of extra skill points. So, by that measure, I can't call him bad. I would just call him not as good as I was hoping for. And I think that's where we're going to end the showcase, because I don't really want to use him anymore. Yeah. Gazel is he's fine. He's like a good 6 out of 10 as a free-to-play character, not as like a summonable unit, but on like the free-to-play scale, he's a 6 out of 10. What would make him better? You remove the stupid Divine General off the shit and just make it a green orb change and skill point increase for everybody. And even if they do that, he would probably jump up to like an 8 or an 8.5. And if he were to be, instead of this buff, be a double alt swapper that's unrestricted, then he'd be a 10. Like, I would actually give him a 10 if he just changed 2 things in his kit, which is 2 major things. But I mean, would you rather have this debuff, which is not as good as 4 easy stacks of Raphael, or would you rather have this skill, which is locked to one team and one team only? You be the judge. You let me know. But that's it from me. Take it easy, and I'll see you all later.